Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Blitz5, and I hope you guys are doing well. In front of me, we have the latest console dev letter from PUBG, and this is for the end of November 2020. And in this update, PUBG is talking about the next generation consoles. So, of course, we have the Xbox Series X and S and the PS5. They're talking about loading performance and other issues, and then also some issues with the PlayStation Trophy. And on top of that, we have another post from PUBG going over the Season 9 ranked rewards. And then at the end of the video, I want to share with you guys a little conspiracy theory I have about Season 10 for PUBG. So let's start off with the next generation consoles first. And I have personal experience with the Xbox Series X because I was able to get one of those. And so far, my experience with PUBG has been great. The load times are extremely fast. It's been handling the 60 frames per second extremely well. I think I've only crashed in game one time. But other than that, it's been performing really well. But a lot of people in the community are a little disappointed because to play at 60 frames per second, you are capped at 1080p. And players are hoping for some better visual quality, possibly 1440p or even 4K. But if you want to go into 4K, you will actually lose the 60 frames per second. And I honestly prefer playing with 60 frames. It's so much better than the 30 frames. And in addition to that, if you weren't aware, Next Gen is still playing on the previous build. So if you're playing on the Xbox Series X, you're actually playing on the One X build. And likewise, if you're playing on the PlayStation 5, you're actually playing on the PS4 build. And then what players were not expecting is that the Xbox Series S is actually using the Xbox One S version of the game and did not launch with 60 frames per second capability. However, PUBG quickly made some changes, and now if you have that console, you are able to play in 60 frames per second with the most recent update, which is 9.2. In the post, they addressed this and also answered the question about why not use these techniques or workarounds to enhance the other graphic options on the other consoles, meaning the older consoles like the OG Xbox and PS4. And basically, they said here that they technically could, but they're worried about the stability issues of the older consoles. PUBG also addressed concerns for the next generation quality by saying, "We've seen all your requests for improved resolution and anti-aliasing quality, and these topics are discussed internally almost every day. While these settings changes are easy to implement on a technical level, they will impact performance, and we need to make sure that they don't lead to degradation of the overall experience." PUBG continued to say that the dev team is also having regular discussions about allowing our players to have more control over resolution, VSync, and frame cap limits. Adding these options will also require a considerable amount of testing on the stability front, but with more and more players getting their hands on the next generation consoles in the coming months, the dev team is working hard to bring you these options as soon as possible. If our testing goes well, you can expect these changes to come within the first quarter of next year. And personally, to share my opinion here, I know people would have loved to see PUBG really come out strong for the next generation consoles. However, I really do feel like the 60 frames per second was such a big jump from 30 that this is a great way to launch the beginning of next generation. I've seen a lot of players come back to PUBG console because of these 60 frames, and I'm even having people in the stream stop in and ask if I'm playing on PC because of the better visual quality. So I really feel like that's kind of a testament to how much better it looks. However, there is a pretty big issue with the anti-aliasing, and that's kind of the shimmering that you may see when you're playing in 60 frames per second. Some of the buildings and edges and water seems to kind of shimmer or have weird loading glitches. So once PUBG can get that sorted out, which they alluded to in this post, I feel like that would help a ton in terms of just visual fidelity, especially at a distance. And then PUBG can kind of keep working on optimizing the old version of the game, hopefully fix things in the back end, and then eventually just move forward with the Series X, S, and PS5 to give us the best experience possible. And moving on from that, we have our next topic, and that is loading performance. And PUBG says here that they've been seeing an increase of reports of players being able to go inside of objects like rocks after driving at high speeds. This isn't mentioned in the post, but this is an issue that's been plaguing older consoles for quite some time. Years ago, when I played on the original Xbox, when you would land, buildings would still be Play-Doh, as they would say. They'd still be loading in, and you could sometimes drive or even walk through buildings. And like many issues in PUBG, some of these things come and go over time. Like some updates, they're worse than others. And this seemed to have gone away for a while, but then with the recent update, it's back. And actually recently in a recent ranked game we were playing, a car actually drove through most of military base while we were staring at it. And this is something that I hadn't seen in a while. So I think this is what they are partially addressing. PUBG mentioned that they're aware of the issues and have moved this to a high priority, and that they assume that most of this stuff is being caused by the in-game loading and what they're prioritizing to load as you're moving around the map. And that obviously when you're driving at high speeds, that's going to cause more problems. So hopefully they can get this fixed as soon as possible. And then lastly, we have the trophy issue, which this is a PlayStation specific issue because you earn trophies while playing the game. It said right now that this is an issue of the trophy data not being saved correctly on the trophy servers. So to fix this, PUBG needs to update one of their back end servers, and they have decided to do this. So it's great news, but it's going to take some testing and more reviewing before they're able to put this into place. So right now they are hoping something will be implemented next quarter. And then lastly, here, something I'm excited about are the rewards for Season 9 ranked. Even though these aren't amazing, I think it's fun getting these, especially the vehicle rewards. So in the first image here, we have the different emblems that you'll get depending on where you place in Season 9. The front one here is if you make it to the top 500 leaderboards in any of the ranked categories. And this is an emblem that you can add onto your PUBG ID, which is now being displayed more in-game when you're spectating your teammates or when you get killed by an enemy, which is pretty cool. And in this next image, we have the glider and parachute skin for Season 9 ranked. To get the glider skin, which I think is really cool and might be one of the first glider skins in the game, all you have to do is place in gold 5 or higher in either solo or squad ranked. And then to get the parachute, you're going to have to be diamond 5 or higher in the game. Personally, I love these rewards, and I think it's awesome that PUBG is doing this, especially with the different tiers being at Gold 5 and Diamond 5. However, I would love to see PUBG put in more stuff to the game, maybe make even more tiers, and even give better rewards for the top 500 players. Just getting an emblem for the top 500 when it is such a grind and it's pretty difficult to get up there, to me just isn't enough, and I'd love to see some kind of exclusive reward for those players. All right, and if you made it this far, I will share with you guys my conspiracy theory for PUBG and for Season 10. So all along here, when I heard about Season 9 being a shortened season with Paramo and everything like that, I really was wondering to myself, why would PUBG be doing a shortened season? I think there's a few different reasons for that. And then one thing that came to mind is that I thought maybe at the end of this shortened season that PUBG would be launching Season 10 at the same time for PC and console. This is something that PUBG has been working on for the past year or so. They've been trying to make the parity between PC and console even closer. And right now we are very close. We're just 1 week after PC always on console, which is great. And in the past, sometimes we would be weeks or even months behind PC. And then when I was reading these ranked rewards, I saw that it said that Season 9 ranked will end when servers go into maintenance on December 16th. And there wasn't a separator between PC and console. And if you check back to Season 8 rewards, at the very end of the post, it says here that these servers will go into maintenance on October 21st for PC and October 29th for console. So they're clearly making a separation between PC and console. So then this had me thinking about the end of the season and also the end of the Survivor Pass. So this morning I logged on to my Xbox. I checked the Survivor Pass and it said that we had 8 days and 19 hours left remaining. And then I logged into PC and noticed that there was 7 days and 12 hours remaining, which means that we're only on console 1 day and 7 hours behind PC, which I feel like has to be the closest amount of time for the Survivor Pass. Usually we're about a week behind PC. So I really feel like this might be adding up to my suspicion that we may see console and PC parity for the first time with Season 10. Obviously, there's no other actual proof of this, just doing some research and reading between the lines, or this really could be nothing and could just be an oversight from PUBG. And I know for PC players, this might not be a big deal, but for us console players, if this ever happens, this would be really great because it always stinks to just watch the update and PTS and all that stuff happen a week or two ahead of time. And then we just have to wait for that on console. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. I hope this is the case. And if it's not happening in Season 10, then hopefully we will see this sometime in 2021. If you enjoyed the video, please consider dropping a like or subscribing to my channel for the latest PUBG and video game related content. As always, thank you all for watching. I'm Blitz5 and peace out.